Okay, so today I'll be going through the 2024 WA2 for CHIJ St. Nicholas Girls School, Primary 5. So let's begin. Question 1. The shop sells pens at the prices shown below. We have $2 for each pen and one packet for $5. Benny wants to buy 101 pens. What is the least amount of money Benny needs to buy the 101 pens? So this question is asking for least amount. All right. So looking at the price for one pen is $2, and for one packet, there's 4 pens inside. If you were to buy individually 4 pens, it would be 4 times $2, which is $8. So it's definitely more worth it to buy in one packet. All right. So let's see. If he wants to buy 101, we have to see what's the maximum amount of packets he can buy. All right. So there will be number of groups. The groups here represent number of packets, right? So you take 101, which is the total pens required, divided by the number of pens in one packet to find how many of such packets he can get. So you take 101 divided by 4. Okay, for this paper, you're allowed to use your calculator, right? So you can use your calculator. You will get 25, remainder 1. So the 25 here refers to 25 packets. The 1 remainder is 1 pen remaining. Okay, so to find the cost of 25 groups, one group is $5, so 25 groups will be 25 times 5. That will give us 125. Okay, but do not forget, you have a remaining of 1 pen. Okay, so we have to add the cost of 1 pen, which is your $2 here. So 125 plus 2 will give us 127. So your answer for this question will be $127. Okay, let's move on to the next question. Question 2. ABC is a triangle. What is the area of triangle ABC? Okay, so recap. For area of triangle, it will be half times base times height. So looking at triangle ABC, the base, if we choose 7 cm, the height. Take note, we always have to choose the height that's perpendicular, all right, to the base. So please do not choose the 15 cm. We extend outwards. The height of the triangle, okay, will be 12 cm. So let's take half. Wait, sorry. Let's take half times the base of 7 times the height of 12. Okay, so this one you can either use your calculator or you can do your own calculations without the use of calculator. So what we do is I make this into a fraction. All right, and then remember for fraction, right, we can simplify, we do diagonally. So this 2 and the 12, both you can divide by 2. So 2 divided by 2, you get 1. 12 divided by 2, you get 6. So this first one just becomes 1 over 1, that's just 1. That leaves us with 7 times 6. That will be 42. So your answer for question 2 will be 42 square centimeters. Okay, question 3 here is a ratio question, which is not in the P5 syllabus. So this one, I will skip. Okay, let's move on to question 4 here. Mrs. Sanvi bought 15 meters of cloth. She used 1/3 of it to make a dress and 1.5 meters to make curtains. How much cloth did she have left? Okay, so take note for this question, total cloth is 15 meters. She used 1/3 of it. This 1/3 of it, it here refers to the 15 meters of cloth. And use another 1.5 meters to make curtains. All right. So take note, the fraction, this is fraction of the 15 meters, whereas this 1.5 meters is the exact length used to make the curtains. So we have to find how much is left. So first thing first, let's look at the dress. The dress is 1/3 of it. So just now I've mentioned 1/3 of the 15 meters. So remember, if I want to find 1/3, sorry, 1/3 of a number, okay, the of we change it to a times. All right, so it becomes 1/3 times 15. So same thing here, this one you can simplify. You can make this into a fraction. Okay, so this one we cancel. both you can divide by 3, right? So it becomes 1. This becomes 5. So the dress, you'll be using 5 meters. And then next, the curtains itself, right? The curtains itself, the question already tells you that the actual length used is 1.5 meters. So this one, I need not do any calculation. I can just write down curtains. Okay, give me a moment. The curtains here, there will be 1.5 meters. Okay, so dress is 5 meters, curtains is 1.5 meters. So let's find the total use. There'll be 5 plus your curtains, which is 1.5. That will give us 6.5 meters. All right. But the question is asking how much is left. So to find left, we just take the original length, which is 15 meters, you minus the total used. So 15, you minus 6.5. So for this, because calculator is a lot, right? You can either use your calculator, or if you want to do by yourself, you can change this 15 into 14 and 2/2. Then you minus 6.5. Okay, that will leave you with the answer 8.5 meters. So the answer for question 4 will be 8.5 meters. Okay. Okay, let's move on. To the next question. Okay, during a sports carnival, Alex, Ben, and Chaga ran a total distance of 5.6 km. Alex ran 0.8 km more than Ben. Chaga ran twice the distance that Ben ran. How far did Alex run? Express the answer in kilometers. So for this question, they tell you the total distance is 5.6 km. Alex ran 0.8 km more than Ben. Okay, so this first comparison here is a comparison between Alex and Ben. So for this, let's draw the model for the 3 of them. Okay, I'll represent it by A, B, and C. Okay, so Alex ran 0.8 km more than Ben. So for Alex, I will draw longer than Ben. Okay, and this is the 0.8. Question says Chaga ran twice the distance that Ben ran. So for this, twice means 2 units as compared to Ben. So I'll draw 2 units. 1, and then Chaga will be 2 units. Remember, the question tells us the total distance by the 3 of them. It's 5.6 km. All right. So looking at this model, the extra is this 0.8, whereas the rest are all equal units. So what I do, I will take 4 units, which is 1, 2, 3, 4. You take the total, you minus the extra 0.8. Okay, that will give us 4.8. And always find 1 unit. So you take 4.8, you divide by 4. Equals to 1.2. And then always go back to the question to see what the question is asking for. How far did Alex run? So Alex ran 1 unit here and a 0.8. So to find Alex, just take the 1 unit, which is 1.2 plus the 0.8. That will give us our answer 2. Okay, so the answer, this one, right, is all in kms already. I did not change and convert the units to meters or cm. So this 2 is already in km. So our final answer for question 5 will just be 2 km. Okay. Okay, let's move on to question 6. Okay, for question 6, right, this is a ratio question, same thing, not in the syllabus, so I will skip this question. Okay, then we can move on to question 7. The figure shows a rectangle and it tells us angle B is equals to angle C. So looking at this, right, this is a rectangle, right? Okay, So this angle here, which is the corner here, angle A will definitely be 90 degrees. So this I can write down first. And then angle B, unknown, we leave it first. We look at angle C. So like I said just now, the corner of your rectangle must be 90 degree. So if this is 42, the remaining angle C, you just need to take 90 minus your 42. That will give us 48. And the question tells us angle B is equals to angle C. So angle B will also be 48 degrees. So if I want to find the sum of A, B, and C, I just add all the three angles together. There will be 90 degrees plus 48 degrees plus another 48 degrees. Okay, you use a calculator, that will give us our answer, 186 degrees. Okay, so this one, I'll get 186 degrees. Okay, okay, so now let's move on to question 8. Okay, every morning Ismail takes the MRT and bus to go to school. The MRT journey takes 40 minutes and the bus journey takes 25 minutes. So part A, how long does he take to travel to school every morning altogether? Express the answer in hours and minutes. Okay, so let's do part A first. So for the MRT journey is 40 minutes. For the bus journey is 25 minutes. So for part A, we need to find the total duration. Okay, so for duration, you can add. The only thing you cannot add is you cannot add time. So duration, 40 minutes. Sorry. 40 minutes plus your 25 minutes for your bus journey. Okay, we will get 65 minutes. The question wants in hours and minutes, so we have to convert. Okay, so remember 1 hour there is 60 minutes. So in here, we can get 1 hour. Okay, then we minus away the 60, we are left with 5 minutes. So for part A, your answer will be 1 hour, 5 minutes. Then let's look at part B. One day when Ismail reached school, his watch showed 7:15 a.m. His watch was 10 minutes fast that day. What was the actual time when he left home that day? All right, so for this one, right, we have to use the timeline to help us. So when he reached school, his watch showed 7:15 a.m., right? This timing is the fast timing. Okay, so his watch was 10 minutes fast. So in order to find the actual time he reached school, okay, we have to go back 10 minutes to find the actual time he reached school. So 7:15 a.m., if we go back 10 minutes, it will be 7:05 a.m. Okay. Okay, wait, let me just tidy this up. So this is the, I'll just put it bracket. This is the actual time that Ismail reached school. Okay. And then he wants to find the actual time he left home. So remember in part A, we found out that his total journey, right, took 1 hour, 5 minutes. So we have to work backwards another 1 hour, 5 minutes to find out the time that he left home. So let's go back 5 minutes first. All right, so we go back 5 minutes. So 7:05, you go back 5 minutes, it will be 7 a.m. And then remember, we have to go back another 1 hour. So 7 a.m., we go back another 1 hour, will be 6 a.m. So the answer for part B will be 6 a.m. Okay, so part A, take note, is 1 hour, 5 minutes. And then for part B will be 6 a.m. He will have left home at 6 a.m. Okay, so let's move on. Okay, question 9, figure 1 is made out of two squares A and D and two rectangles B and C. Okay, the total perimeter of B and C is 64 cm. The area of D is 81 square centimeters. Figure 2 is made out of three identical square A. So part A, what is the area of square A? Okay, so first thing first, right? You look at this figure 1 here. It's made out of two squares and two rectangles. So let's identify those sides that are equal. So for squares, all four sides will be equal, right? So let me just draw the lines here to represent that they are equal. Okay, this side here is the opposite side of your rectangle. So this must also be equal length. Same applies to this length here. Okay, and then now we look at B. Look at D first. So D is also a square, meaning all four sides are equal. So let me just label all these that they are equal. Okay, this opposite side of C will be equal length as well. The opposite side of B will be equal. All right, so now you know the total perimeter is 64 cm of B and C. Okay, so for all those that are labeled with one stroke, okay, I will call it X. So this side here, I'll call it X and X. This one here, I'll also call it X and X. Okay, because I'm focusing on the perimeter of B and C. Yeah? Next, this one with the double stroke, I will call it Y. This one here, I'll also call it Y. This is also the perimeter of C. I'll also label it as Y. This one here, also Y. Okay, so if you look at the perimeter of rectangle B and C, B itself is 2x and 2y. C, the perimeter is also 2x and 2y. So the total perimeter of B and C, 2x and 2y, 2x and 2y will be total of 4x plus 4y is the total perimeter for rectangle B and C. It will give you 64 cm. Okay? And then the question also tells us the area of this square this is square D is 81 square centimeters. This is a square. So remember, if they give us the area of a square, we can find one side. So 81, take note, for squares, both the length and the breadth must be equal. So what number and what number gives you 81? It will be 9 times 9. Okay, so one side of square D will be 9 cm. So take note here, we go back to the figure. One side here, we have labeled it as y, right? So I'll put here 1y equals to my 9 cm. Okay, remember we go back to here. 4x plus 4y gives you 64. Let's find the 4y first. So 4y will be 4 times 9. That will be 36. So we know that 4y, this one is 36. Okay, 4x plus 36 gives you 64. So to find the 4x, we just need to take the total, which is 64, minus the 36. So let's write that down as well. 4x will be the total perimeter of 64 minus the 4y, which is 36. That will be 28. So once we find 4x is 28, we can find 1x. Okay, let me continue here. 4x will just be 28 divided by 4. So 1x will be 7 cm. So meaning, right, we have found x here. So one side of the square here, one side which is x, is actually 7 cm. To find the area, all sides are equal, right, for square. We just need to take 7 times 7 will give us the answer 49. Okay, so for part A, the answer will be 49 square centimeters. Okay, later I'll write down the answer to consolidate it. Okay, so all this is for part A. And then for part B, right? What is the perimeter of figure 2? So for figure 2 is over here. Perimeter, take note, is the outline only. So I'm going to go around the figure and see how many sides are there. Okay, so I have 1 here, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. I have 8 sides of this 7. Okay, so to find the perimeter of figure 2, it will just be 8 times 7 because each side of this square A is 7 cm. So 8 times 7 will give me the answer 56 cm. All right, so I'll just write down the answer for part A. It will be 49 square centimeters. And then for part B, the answer will be 56 cm. Okay, part A is asking for area, and then part B is asking for perimeter. So take note of the units. Okay, let's move on to the next question. Okay, question 10. Rahim spent 2/5 of his money on 3 similar shirts and 5 similar dresses. A dress cost twice as much as a shirt. He spent 1/6 of his remaining money on a bag and had $175.50 left. How much money did the bag cost for part A? Okay, let's do part A first. Okay, so we read the question. It says that Rahim spent 2/5 of his money on 3 similar shirts and 5 similar dresses. A dress cost twice as much as a shirt. He spent 1/6 of his remaining money. Okay, whenever you see this fraction of remaining, this phrase here is your clue to draw the model. Okay, but for model, we always have to look at the first fraction. Okay, the first fraction denominator is 5, right? So total units, we must draw 5. All right, so we draw 5. So out of this 5, 2 units here, because they say 2 out of 5, right? 2 units is for 3 shirts. I put a 3S plus 5 dresses, 5D. The remaining here must be, I just label as remainder first. R to represent remaining. Okay. Then he said he spent 1/6 of his remaining money. So you look at the remaining money here, it's 3 units, but the denominator here is 6. So it does not tally, right? So I will draw a drop-down model here to represent the remaining money of 6 units. Okay, so I've drawn 6. So 1 out of the 6 is for the bag. So here, 1 out of the 6 is for the 1 bag. Okay, and then he had $175.50 left, meaning this here must be the money left, which is $175.50. So I'll label it like that. All right, so if the question is asking part A, how much money did the bag cost? So we look at this drop-down model part here. There are 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. There are 5 of them. If I just want to find 1 unit here, I just simply take 175.50 divided by 5. Okay, you key this into your calculator, you will get 35.10. Okay, so you will get 1 unit here, which is the cost of the bag already. So this is your answer for part A. Okay, same thing, I'll write down the answer later here. Okay, but this here, $35.10 will be your answer for part A. So let's move on to part B. Yeah? Part B wants us to find out how much more money did the bag cost in 1 shirt. We have found the cost of the bag, but we haven't found the cost of the shirt. Okay, the shirt is over here, so we have to work upwards towards the model on top. So since we have found 1 unit here, right? Total, we need to find the total remaining money, which you count total, there are 6 of it. So to find 6 of it, you have to take 6 times $35.10. Okay, because 1 part here is $35.10. So with 6 of it, you times 6, you will get 210.60. Okay, so now this part here, we have found is $210.60, right? We have to find 1 of this. Okay, we have to find 1 of this. So to find 1 of this, you just simply take 210.60, you divide it by 3 because there's 3 of it on top. So after you divide, it will be $70.20. Okay, we are finding the cost of 1 shirt, right? 1 shirt is, to find 1 shirt, right, it's actually we have to find out how much is the total cost for 3 shirts and 5 dresses first. Okay, so in here there are 2 of this, so I will take 2 times $70.20. Okay, because just now we have found that 1 part here is $70.20. So 2 of this will just be 2 times $70.20. That will give us 140.40. Okay, So let's break down what is inside this $140.40. It's actually 3 shirts and 5 dresses. So remember, the comparison here in the question is they say that a dress costs twice as much as a shirt. So you know that one dress twice means 2 units and one shirt is 1 unit. All right. So for 3 shirts and 5 dresses, okay, here one shirt is just 1 unit. So you have 3 shirts, it will be 3 times 1 unit. And then for the 5 dresses, it will be one dress is 2 units. So 5 dresses will be 5 times 2U. Okay, so this one I can put a bracket to separate it out. This is for the 3 shirts, this is for the 5 dresses. So total, 3 times 1 will give you 3U, 5 times 2 is 10U. So total it's 13 units. So you have found the total cost here to here is $140.40, which is total of 13 units. So I'll write down here, 13U is equals to $140.40. Always, we have to find 1 unit. You simply take the total divided by 13. Okay? We will get 1 unit is $10.80. Okay, once we have found 1 unit, we have to go back to the question. We were looking for 1 shirt just now, right? So remember, 1 shirt is simply 1 unit, which we have found is $10.80 already. The question wants us to compare the difference between 1 bag and 1 shirt. So 1 bag we have found is $35.10. 1 shirt here is $10.80. This one I can put here. This is 1 shirt. So we just find the difference. You take $35.10. You subtract the 1 shirt. Okay, we will get our answer, $24.30. Okay, so let me just write down the answer. For part A, the answer is $35.10 for the bag. And then for part B, the difference between the bag and 1 shirt will be $24.30. All right. So now let's move on to the next question. Okay, so this is also the last question for this paper. Okay, at first, Wonderlicious Bakery baked a total of 370 cupcakes, tarts, and muffins. Half of its tarts and some muffins were sold. Then 30 more cupcakes were baked. There was an equal number of cupcakes, tarts, and muffins at the end. A total amount of $108 was collected from the sale of tarts. Okay, so in this table, you have the prices for each item. And then for part A, how many tarts did Wonderlicious Bakery sell? Okay, so recap here, total is 370 cupcakes, tarts, and muffins. This is total at first. Then they say half of its tarts were sold. Some muffins, I don't know how many were sold. And then for cupcakes, right, there were 30 more that were baked. After this half sold, half muffins sold, and then this 30 more cupcakes baked. In the end, there was an equal number for each of them. So based on just the tarts, okay, the money collected from the sale of the tarts is $108. So for part A, they're asking how many tarts did Wonderlicious Bakery sell? So remember, the question says only half its tarts were sold. Okay, and then the money collected from the tarts is $108. So to find how many tarts did the bakery sell, we just take the total money divided by the price of 1 tart. We can know how many tarts were sold. So for part A, I just take $108, which is the total money collected, divide by the price of 1 tart, I will get how many tarts sold. So that will give us our answer, 72. Okay? So let's move on to part B. How much money was collected from the sale of muffins? So right, muffins here is just, they say it's some muffins, so I don't know how many muffins were sold. But the question tells us that there's an equal number of cupcakes, tarts, and muffins at the end. Okay, so we start from the tarts, because the tarts, they give us more information. So the question says that in part A, we found that 72 tarts were sold, right? And then since half of the tarts were sold, it means that at the end, there's also 72 left. Okay? Because if you sold 72, whatever left is also the same because half of them were sold. Meaning I can write down the tarts at first. Okay, so like I repeat, 72 is the tarts that were sold. And then since half were sold, meaning the original must be twice of 72. Okay, whatever is left must be also the same as what I sold. So at first must be 72 times 2. That will give me 144 tarts at first. Okay? And then remember I said that there were 72 tarts left, right? Means that muffins and cupcakes also got 72 in the end. So if we look at cupcakes, 30 more cupcakes were baked. So we don't know how many. Okay, so this one I'll just write down for those who cannot see. At first, we don't know how many cupcakes. But after baking, so I'll put a plus 30, you have in the end 72 cupcakes. So if you want to find the original number of cupcakes, I have to work backwards, which is 72 minus 30. So I can write down cupcakes at first. I take the final number, I work backwards, I minus 30. So 72, I minus 30. That will give me 42 cupcakes at first. Okay? So I know the tarts at first is 144. I know the cupcakes at first is 42. The question also tells me the total number of cupcakes, tarts, and muffins at first. So with that, I can also find the muffins at first. I just simply take the total, I minus away the tarts, I minus away the cupcakes. So 370, I subtract 144 for the tarts at first, and also the cupcakes at first of 42. So 370, let me just make this clearer. 370, I subtract this two, you key into your calculator, you will get 184 muffins at first. Okay? So we know that at first there were 184 muffins. In the end, there was 72 because remember, in the end, all were same number. So muffins sold must be okay, this one I can show you. At first is 184. Okay, I don't know how many were sold. And then in the end, it's 72, right? So to find how many were sold, we just take 184 minus 72. So the number of muffins sold is, wait, I just want to be consistent in this. This one I can just be 112. But the question is asking for money collected, okay? So one muffin was sold at $4. So for 112 muffins, it will just be 112 times 4. That will give us our answer, $448. Okay, so for part A, your answer is 72 tarts. And then for part B, the answer is $448 collected. All right, and that's all for this paper. Thank you.